The Montreal Canadiens have made their first trade of the 2024 trade deadline season. That's right. They've traded center Sean Monahan to the Winnipeg Jets in return for a 2024 first and a conditional 2027 third-round pick. But that condition is if the Winnipeg Jets win the Stanley Cup this year. So I think it's Monahan for a first. I don't really expect Winnipeg to win the Cup, but I mean, the possibility is there. So just to, I'm going to go over my thoughts on this deal. I'm going to go over some questions I have about it, and then I'll come to a conclusion or a summary of all of this. So I think it was great asset management by GM Kent Hughes. They got Calgary's first for 2025 in acquiring Sean Monahan. It was a salary dump by Calgary. And now they get a 2024 first from Winnipeg in trading him away. That's 2 first-round picks and potentially a third-round pick in 2027. So 2 or 3 assets for acquiring Sean Monahan as a salary dump. So I think that's great asset management. I know some people were expecting more, myself included. I was kind of expecting more. But, you know, it is what it is, and we are not involved in the trades and the talks, and we don't know what was offered and what was out there. They didn't retain any salary on Monahan, and that was really good. So they still have 1 salary retention left. They've used 2 on, I offhand, I'm not thinking of who they are. And, you know, this is really important because if they'd like to move, obviously, one of the goalies, which is Jake Allen, more than likely, they're going to need, I think, one of these retentions to move him. He's making almost $4 million. There's not a lot of teams that have cap space. I feel if you're going to move Allen, you're going to have to retain salary on him. So this is good for that. Because, you know, I didn't think they would have to retain salary on Monahan to start with. But, you know, the talk was out there and from some good people as well. So, yeah, so a good move there. After the huge haul that Calgary got for Elias Lindholm, I believe it was Wednesday night, this feels a little underwhelming. Very true, it does. But I do feel that a first for Monahan, I think it was a good return. You know, that's kind of what their asking price was, and they got their asking price. I don't think, I mean, there's reasons why, anyways, that they weren't going to get that haul for Lindholm that I was hoping they would get. His injury history is why. You know, he has the hip surgery in a couple of years where he really wasn't playing well because of the injuries. And then last season, he's got a bit of history there, and that would lower the value, obviously, as opposed to a guy like Lindholm, because they're the same age. And if anything, Monahan has slightly better numbers. I mean, slightly better numbers this year than Lindholm. So it's got to be the injury history. So, I mean, because the reality is that one bad hit, you know, that could end Monahan's season. You can kind of say that maybe for anybody, but more so for Monahan, at least in the minds of other GMs, I think. As far as for the Habs and for Hughes, waiting for the deadline to move him, which was the talk that it would take 2 or 3 weeks before we'd see a deal for Monahan. That was a bit riskier than was necessary. I think that's what they felt, especially since they got their asking price. So I guess if they did not get their asking price, they would probably not have moved him, but they did get it. And why risk him getting hurt and then just losing that completely? And there's no asset there at all to move. So this is something that Hughes said at his press conference afterward about why they traded him and why they didn't re-sign him. We know we're a better team with Sean Monahan, but we don't have enough clarity in our future to offer him a reasonable contract. Meaning, in my opinion, that obviously they don't think they're going to make the playoffs, so there's really no reason to sign him. Plus the uncertainty of, you know, the rebuild and money and moves that have to be made. And I think the this was better for Monahan's future as well, giving him a shot at a cup. And they got a good return back. I don't think it was they didn't make a deal, I don't think, at the beginning of the season, but they probably did make, certain promises if they could keep them, and they did. I mean, he has to go play Winnipeg. I don't know how happy he is about that, but at least it's a cup contender right now. They're at the top of the league, or near the top. Just to show you what Monty, well, it's close. What Monahan had in 74 games with Montreal. I have to click on it. In 74 games, he had 19 goals, 33 assists for 52 points. And, if you prorate that, add the 8 games to make it 82, he probably had about 56, 57 points. And that's right in, that's in his ballpark for what he gets in the season. So a good season for Monahan. Not his absolute best, but, it's still a good season. And that's what gives the value for the guy. He's not too old at 29. And teams that need to make that push, like Winnipeg, they need to make a commitment if they really want to win. If they stand pat, more than likely they haven't got a shot. I think adding Monahan, you got a shot. I don't think they'll win, but they got a shot. Questions that I have. These are the questions I have. Who will be the number 2 center going forward? Jake Evans? Is Alex Newhook ready or close to being ready to return? Or is there another trade in the works? And I kind of think it's going to be, for right now, Jake Evans for I don't know how many games, but Alex Newhook was back skating already. So it's just a matter of how much time till he's ready to join the team. I think they go with Evans for now. You call up who they have there. I can't remember his name. Kandata, maybe Mitchell Stevens, and you run like that for a few games until Alex Newhook is ready, and then he gets another audition at center, and hopefully he's a little better than the first time. But either way, it's going to be Alex Newhook. So I don't think there's going to be a trade, and I don't see why they would make a trade to bring in somebody, use up an asset to bring in a guy for what? For how long? For the rest of the season, 30 games, 33 games. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think, all right, I guess I ask, is this a bit of a blow to Slafkovsky and Suzuki and a huge loss of veteran leadership to the team? And I mean, yes, I think it's a bit of a blow to Slafkovsky and Suzuki. And it's definitely a loss of veteran leadership. I think they can make it up. There's guys on the team. They can step up a little bit more, but it's still going to be a loss. And Nick Suzuki is going to feel that as, kind of under his wing, as Monahan was the second-line center. Suzuki still learning, doing a great job, but still learning. And I think it could be a little bit. There was a form of, I don't know for what team, but a young center. They traded his mentor like that during the season, and he said it took him a little while to get his footing again. So, I kind of hope that's not the case with Nick. He's very mature, very strong-minded kid. I think he'll be fine. But it's still a bit of a blow to them, I got to think. And Nick's in Toronto for the All-Star game, and he doesn't really give that hug goodbye type of thing. Now, how do these two handle it? And I guess how does the team handle it, right? I kind of think I don't expect Slafkovsky on a line with Jake Evans. So I think Slav goes back to the first line. And you do get what you can from the second line. They were already kind of struggling for secondary and tertiary scoring. I think that might continue. There might be some pretty horrible games coming up, but I actually talk about what that could mean. This could be a pick that they use to try and swing another deal like they did for the last 2 seasons with Kirby Dach and then Alex Newhook. Those trades off season and at the draft, and that could be what they're thinking. Could help them they might have a target or 2 already, obviously, and that's what they're thinking. I wouldn't shock me at all. I kind of think they've talked about it, and I kind of expect that is why they want that extra draft pick. And apparently if Calgary's pick finishes low enough, then we're going to get their first-round pick this year. We may have 3. That's according to Matt Norton, my partner at Talking Habs, my other channel. So hopefully that could happen, and it could happen. The possibility of signing Monahan as a free agent in the offseason, once the free agency starts, I think is very unlikely. It's not that it never has happened, but it hasn't happened very often, right? You just think back on, geez, when did that happen? And you might come up with 1 or 2, but I don't think you'll come up with more because it doesn't happen often. I think that's kind of a dream. And you got to remember what Hugh said about they didn't have, about offering him a contract. I don't think that really changes in the offseason because I don't think he's only talking about whether they were going to make the playoffs this year or not. So, yeah, I don't think he comes back, unfortunately. And I was really sad when I heard this news. I'm not happy losing Monahan, but there's a vision for what they're doing. We're in a rebuild, and this is how you get better. And that's all there is to it, right? All right, I'll give you a summation of what I've said here, I guess. It's a good deal for Montreal, I think. Yes, maybe they could have got a prospect, and they might not get that 3rd-round pick. But, it's still a good deal. Getting a 1st round for Monahan after you got a 1st round to take him for nothing. You didn't have to give up anything but take his salary on. I think this is a good deal. It's not. I don't think it's an overpayment, on their part, obviously, or is it an underpayment, for Montreal? I think this is fair value. This may be because I'm tired of talking about the tank, but a lot of people are still talking about it, and this may be a way for them to tank. Hughes is crafty. You make a move like that, you're going to tank a little bit, definitely, and they're already on the bottom. But it doesn't look like that, right? And you can't look at the teams and say they're tanking. The team and the players are not tanking. Management may be looking at the situation and saying, you weigh it all out. It helps us get a better draft pick, blah, blah, blah. 33 games left. We're not getting out of the bottom 10. So it makes sense, and I think that part of the thinking anyway. And also, you know what? It improves the draft pick potentially and a shot at winning the lottery because the lower you are, the higher percentage you have of winning the lottery, and maybe getting Macklin Celebrini. I know it's a bit of a dream, but it could happen. And the farther, on the bottom that they finish, the better, the more likely that is to happen. Now, I think this deal should satisfy most Habs fans, and only the fans that thought that they would make the postseason and were kind of still, I don't know, living in La La Land. They should be disappointed by this. I would think that Monahan was traded, so obviously we're not going to play as well. And that the return, they figured if Monahan got traded, we got to get this shitload of players because of Lindholm. I think, yeah, so they'll be the only ones. I think if you're a reasonable fan, knowledgeable fan, I think you like this deal. That's what I think. Anyway, let us know what you think in the comment section down there. And if you're new to the channel, which most of you probably are, please hit the subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and hit that notification button. And you get notified when we do another video. And we got all kinds of different things coming up on this channel. So new programming going to be added on a regular basis. So please check it out and enjoy. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Please check out my channel, Talking Habs, where you'll see all Habs all the time. And it's here where you'll see some different stuff. I'll do some Habs as well, but please check that out. Have a great day. Stay safe till then. Peace out. And I'll see you next time. Ciao, everybody.